Ben, you're sitting there as England's #1 scrum half with number 9 on your back at the moment. How does that feel, if you can sum it up?
Look, I mean, I've been around long enough now to know that it is at the moment, but it can change very quickly. You know, I've been times where I've been in the team, there's been times where I've been out. Last season, obviously missing out on the Six Nations was tough, and not being a part of the England team, it hurts so much, but it also gives you that motivation and probably that little bit of spark that you need or you're missing.
Tell me a bit about what's it like to compete with a player that's you're close friends with. I see you around the camp with Danny Kerr, so you're working with Richard Wiggles quite a lot. How do you maintain a close relationship as mates like that?
Do you know what? It's actually, you think it's hard, but it's actually easy because the respect we have for each other is huge. There's elements of his game which I wish I had in mine. The more the tussle is for the shirt as such, you're probably going to see a spike in performance, and that's what we want. You know, we want each other pushing. You know, if you're in a position where there's no one close to you in terms of being able to play Test rugby, well, you know, are you going to perform as well as you can? Probably not.
You mentioned the tough times and being out of the side in the last Six Nations. Who do you lean on in those periods? Who do you look to for advice and comfort and those sorts of things?
You know, I've family, friends. You know, the coach is really proactive here to try and get you back to where you want to be as a player. So I think you just go back and, as I said, you just try and find that spark again. And you know, I probably just lost the love of the game a little bit. Seasons sort of rolled into one, very little off season, and for whatever reason, I just burnt out a little bit and lost that sort of spark or that motivation. But you know, as I said earlier, that once you then lose out of not being in the 23, you know, it certainly gives you that motivation again, and that's exactly what I needed.
Does fatherhood change that a little bit as well? Does that change perhaps who you're playing for and the pride when you put on the shirt, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, it certainly changes your world. It gives me such a good balance now between rugby and family now, but it also, as you said, it gives you that motivation of trying to make sure the little man is proud of his dad, so that helps as well.
Ireland are next up, of course, in Six Nations, a team you've had real highs and lows against probably in your career. Take me back to 2011 first of all, and that game England were chasing a Grand Slam, how you felt when you were going into the game, and you know, perhaps what England didn't get quite right on that day.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was 20, and I think I went in and very naively at that age, you sort of just think it's just going to happen, I guess. You know, why wouldn't it? We've won the last 4, one more to go. I remember, obviously, I got sin-binned in that game. I came off sort of 20 minutes into the game. I hadn't had a good start anyway. Once it was time for me to go back on, they actually didn't bother. They actually put Danny on. And that was really tough, really, to get sort of be subbed in the first half. And especially at 20, you know, you sort of everything's new and you don't really know how to deal with it. So, and then obviously losing the chance for Grand Slam anyway. You know, the emotions after that was really tough, and it was a tough time. But saying that, you know, I've also had some great times out there. You know, obviously when we went there in 2013 and got the win, it was you know, probably wasn't the prettiest game. I just remember being so pleased at the end of it, because that sort of built up from the disappointment of 2011, not too dissimilar to Cardiff. You know, recently it does, games like that sit with you for a long time. It builds up, and then to sort of almost get rid of those demons, it's a great feeling.
How tough was that as a 20-year-old to go through that, do you think? And do you think those sorts of things are important looking back, as when you look at your career now at 25?
Yeah, they shape you, definitely. They shape you, as horrible as it is. You know, I think players have to go through it. You know, players will fail all the time or lose form, and you hear people talking about, oh, you know, why is he not there anymore, or what's happened to him? He seems like he's fallen off the face of the earth. It's not the facts. It's just to be able to constantly perform at this level in international arena, but also when you go off the international stage, you go back to your club level. You know, suddenly you're playing against the guy that wants your shirt anyway, and you know it's his cup final. It may not be yours. You know, they're tough, and you have to learn all that as you know, when you're young and you're going through the system. But certainly you have to go through it, and I think it does shape you and make you a better player for it. But yeah, I mean, I'd have rather won the Grand Slam.
Does some of that frustration come out in 2012 in that try at Twickenham? I think if you can remember,
yeah.
Obviously you can remember it. Your celebrations were quite pumped at the time.
Forgot about that one. Yeah, that was another, you know, that was another sort of roller coaster Six Nations for myself. I started the tournament. It was obviously Lanny's first tournament being in charge, and I started the first 2 games. I lost my shirt, and well, not my shirt. I lost the 9 shirt. Was on the bench and stuff, and I remember just being so frustrated, and I was just desperate to just play well, you know, and you know, everyone wants to play, but everyone wants to start. No one's satisfied with watching the other guy run out. So to get on and then score the try, yeah, that was pleasing. I was just so pleased to come on. And sometimes you get written off as a player, and then you have these moments where you just go, yeah.
You've spoken a lot about Ireland. What is it going to be like going back there again? You've been there twice now.
I mean, look, it's probably one of the biggest games I've ever played in, to be honest with you. And it's only round 3, but the awareness of being there and got on a battering really, and also the awareness of going there and getting the win. You know, the difference between performance and what we did right and what we did wrong is huge. You know, I think the place will be electric, especially knowing, you know, we're the only 2 teams in the comp now that haven't lost a game.